fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll Midday Market Report for Wednesday, December 29th. Just 2 days left in 2021 as we get ready for 2022. And what better way to get closer than to go across the border to our best friend from Canada himself, Mr. Andrew Mcinnis from McGinnis Picks from wagertalk.com and Mayflower Sports. And the list is endless as this gentleman was traveling and living the life that I was jealous of in Vegas, which we will find out real soon. But he's back home with the family, with the pup, and he gets ready to break down some World Juniors, some NHL, and maybe even some NFL. So without further ado, my friend, Andrew Mcinnis.
It is great to see you, Jeff. How was your holiday?
Holiday was good. I can't complain. Last year at this time, myself, my wife, and my two kids all had COVID. And so a year later, we're all COVID free. So life couldn't be better.
Happy to hear that. Happy to hear you stayed safe. Unfortunately, my father did get COVID, so I wasn't able to see him until I think it was Boxing Day. So I did travel home. I got to see some family and some friends, and didn't really go too crazy with the partying or anything like that. But just nice to have some normalcy and have some nice family dinners. But it was a little bit unfortunate to not be able to see my dad for a couple of days. But we were able to watch some hockey together, and that's just like old times. And so when he was finished his day 10 or whatever it was nice to get together. So, the older I get, the more you realize it's not about waiting for those gifts under the Christmas tree. It's about the family time. And now that I live 2 hours away from my hometown, I know it's not that far, but it's far enough that, you kind of treasure those moments a lot more when you're back home.
And I've been saying this for a while, and at some point you will even understand this even more. At some point in your life, it's not about us. It is obviously about the kids. It's about the mom and dads. For myself, my mom and dad have passed a long time now. And so we still go and see their side of the family on Christmas Eve. And my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents are not there anymore, but there's still 25, 30, 40, sometimes 50 people there. They're my cousins who now have kids, and their kids now have kids. And I have aunts that are, great grandparents. So it's something that it's tradition. I guess that's the best way to say it. It's tradition. And I enjoy the holidays. Again, I'm a giver, not a receiver. And I enjoy the eyes of the kids when they open up the gifts. But nowadays with Amazon links, the kids now just send you a list this long and they say, all right, here it is, click the link, and they already know by the time they open the box what it is. Before we dig into the juniors, you went to Vegas. Give us a quick recap of your Vegas trip.
Yeah, it was a blast. It felt like two vacations in one, getting to see the Grey Cup first, went to overtime. So that was a blast in its own. And then, part two of the vacation, I could have gone home after that, Jeff, and been satisfied with the trip, Then you fly to Vegas. I'll tell you one thing. It was nice for me, someone that lives in the far East Coast, not to have a connecting flight, already being in Toronto. I know that sounds like kind of a small problem, but it was nice to just have the one flight anyway. Great experience. Two of us being there together. I think it was a good mix of downtime and, having a lot of fun. I guess my favorite part really, I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I think that you and I get along so well because I can tell you're like that as well. And I don't really need a bunch of stuff going on to keep me entertained. I just love walking along the strip and, taking everything in. And I know that Marco D'Angelo and Teddy Covers always joke with me about when I was there with them on Fremont Street for the first time. I was just so wide-eyed, just looking around. And the concert was amazing. I went to see Luke Combs on the Wednesday night I was there. It was great. The way he spoke to the audience, you could tell he really, put a lot of into the concert. And he said that, he hadn't even been on a plane 4 years ago, and now he's touring America. It was just very, very nice, concert. We went to see a show. We saw Absinthe, and we thought that was very entertaining in all kinds of different ways. That's for sure. But yeah, Circa lived up to its expectations, Jeff, 100%. We went there, and I met up with Hakeem Prophet from Wager Talk, and the first night didn't check out Stadium Swim. I'll tell you though, the first day we were there, the power went out at the book. All the screens shut off. So that was kind of a funny first experience. But no, it was great. He was actually wearing a Warriors jersey, even though he's a Lakers fan. He's wearing a Steph Curry jersey. That was the game that Steph broke the 3-point record. Some guy from the Bay Area walks up to us, gives us like 6 free drink tickets. He's like, "Hey, I love the jersey. You must be a fan." And he's a Lakers fan, but he said, "Oh yeah, I love Steph." You just, "Hey, here you go, boys. Here's some drink tickets." So hung out with him. And anyway, Stadium Swim was awesome though. That, last night, and it was hilarious because it's a heated pool, right? It's a heated pool. I have to shout out Kevin Stevenson for showing me around. He's a great guy. Helped us, get in, and it was empty. You'd think the place was closed, right? And they're all calling us crazy Canadians. And I'm looking at them and saying, guys, the pool is warm. You realize the water is hot in there, right? So anyway, it was kind of a funny experience because all I see online, March Madness and all this and that, Sunday for football, it's packed. For us, I think, no joke, there might have been 5 people there. And then you throw in the lifeguards. So it was a cool experience watching the Chiefs and Chargers. I believe that was the game at Chiefs and Chargers. So, and then afterwards, meeting up with Dave Sherapan after you connected us. And if I didn't have a flight at, I think it was, if I didn't have to be up at about 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. the next day, I could have talked with Dave, for 4 hours. We just sat in the book. We didn't do anything else. We just sat in the book and chatted for, I think it was like an hour and a half, and just, got to know each other. And it was actually quite nice because his wife is a pharmacist. My girlfriend's a pharmacist. So they were able to relate about that as well. I know she probably was tired of the sports betting talk after half an hour or 40 minutes, but it was a great trip. And I appreciate you linking us up because Dave's a great guy.
I mean, we could talk for hours just on your trip. I generally stay across every timeshare. I stay across from South Point, so I'm away from the madness. I'm right across the street at the Grandview. So I go over to South Point. I see Chris Andrews. I see Jimmy Vaccaro, the boys from VSiN, and Dave will come in. And true story is I bought lunch for him at around noon, and I think by 4 o'clock he had to go back and reheat his clam chowder or something. I mean, just because everyone just comes over to him, whether it's Chris, it's Jimmy's, it's Brent, and guys coming on and off the show. It's just hilarious because, like you said, you lose track of time. We're there for 4 hours, and we're like, we haven't.
Dan Newbert told me that. He said it's like the president kissing babies, except for a Vegas version. That's what he told me.
It is. It doesn't matter where you go. And I love what you said about Fremont Street, because when I stay down the strip, or I just grab a lift or a Uber, go down the strip, I usually get a lot of good cardio in on a daily basis, just taking in the sights and just walking, from the Bellagio. And you talked about the show that you saw at Caesars, walk right through there, go all the way down the Venetian, and then I lap back. But then you talked about Fremont Street and your eyes. It reminds me of spring break. That's what Fremont Street does. Just the atmosphere, I don't kind of chaos. And it's funny. Last time I was there, I had just signed up for the Circa Millions, and there's a cigar stand there. I bought a cigar. I took some pictures, and I just was walking up and back. You got to go and experience it.
Well, I'm trying to get my friends for us to go out there. I'm going to meet some work people and some friends for March Madness, but I want to bring some of my buddies, and I'm tired of talking to them about it, and I want them to see it as well. And I try and tell people that with Las Vegas, you spend what you choose to spend, right? And I'm sure you'd agree with me on this. You're talking about the entertainment factor of just walking around. You don't need, you could walk by a blackjack table and watch some guy lose 10 grand in 5 seconds, but you don't need that like you don't need a lot of money, to have a good time in Vegas. I think it's a really big misunderstanding that a lot of people have. And the reason why I say that is just because it's a vacation where you can go and you could just simply be entertained by walking around, go to a show or two. I gambled. We went to some shows, went to a concert, we had some fun, but um, the amount of entertainment you get from just opening up your eyes and just looking around is just so much fun. I remember Hakeem was with his girlfriend. I had my girlfriend. We were just walking together, and I had no urgency to go anywhere, Jeff. I didn't want to go eat. I didn't want to go get a drink. I didn't want to go inside a dark casino. I was just so happy to be walking around. Um, and don't get me wrong, you could walk around a lot of cities and think that, but there's just something different about, and I don't think it would ever get old for me. That's what I like. So it's awesome, and I think and same thing for restaurants. There's a lot of really good restaurants that you're not going to have, you're not breaking the bank going to either. There's going to be some one or two steakhouses you're going to want to check out. But I went to that Victory Burger place inside Circa. So many different places to go to, and I love the options. So just overall, I think that I tell a lot of people, one of my neighbors, I told him I was going to Vegas, and he's like, "Oh, going to gamble, are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I am, but you don't have to."
And it has changed so much. They really wanted to try to recreate almost like a family setting where to emulate the Disney worlds and the Disneylands, and they've come such a far way to way back in the day, the dirty, grungy, the smoke-filled casinos,
Yeah.
and what everyone, and that's just the mindset of everyone. And that is, they think of Vegas, they think of that, you're just going to go and lose all your money. There is
Mm-hmm.
so much to do. Uh, I told you, in the DM, and I'll tell everyone watching and listening here, we go out for 2 to 3 weeks for March Madness. And people look at me like, how the hell do you do that? And just what you said, okay, is, we go out there for fantasy baseball at the Bellagio, high stakes at the NFBC. A lot of friends partake in that. I'm more invest in some people for I can't do the baseball. I'm a football guy. March Madness and the start of the MLB. I'm the exact opposite of the young guns. Okay. I'm the guy that's up at 4:35 in the morning. I'm doing my work. I'm at Starbucks grabbing a coffee. I do all my work through the morning and the afternoon, do my marketing, do whatever we need to do. I'm that guy at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night that's already back in the room,
Mm-hmm.
decompressing and getting ready for the morning when the young guns and the millennials are just getting lathered up and getting ready to go out there. But you pick and choose your spots.
Yeah.
In South Point, after midnight, there's a restaurant there. Steak and eggs for $5.99. You go onto the strip, get a slice of pizza. You go to the South Point, get a hot dog for $1.25. Steak and Shake. There's a
Right.
million places. You pick your spots. You want to go spend $100 at Gordon Ramsay's. Okay, that's what you're doing for the day.
Yeah.
For us, we'll go to Jabberwockies one day and go see them for a show. I bring the family out there. We go to T-Mobile to see. We saw the Pac-12 there. We
Awesome.
go to see a concert. But you pick and choose, and like you said, you get just as much of a thrill watching someone win or lose 10,000 on red and black, and it wasn't your money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had I remember there was like a night where I think it might have been after the concert or whatever. My girlfriend fell asleep early, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go walk around the casino and have some fun. And so I went to the craps table, and I wasn't like really playing aggressively. You know how some people are putting something on 6, 8, 4, everything, the field, they're going crazy. I was kind of just hanging out on the pass line or, playing a couple numbers. But I found that was one of those games, and I enjoy craps, but that was one of those games where I won't say always, but you can kind of just like survive. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of win, lose, you're up, you're hanging around. And it's just cool to, first of all, celebrate with everybody and have some drinks and meet some people. But like you said, you're watching some guys like, I'm just like min betting or betting 25. These guys are like throwing down like, $100 pass line, $100 here, $200 on 6. I'm just like, holy shit. And, you almost get that dopamine rush just watching what these guys are doing. And it doesn't affect my life whatsoever. So yeah, it's interesting, and I have to follow up. So you've taken your family there a couple of times, because I was saying I was surprised at the gates in Toronto how many families I saw, and I'm it's not that I don't think there's families that live in Vegas, but for vacations or anything like that, it was interesting to see. So I like what you said there about kind of the Disney World type thing, because when people think Vegas, especially people my age, they think strippers, they think gambling, they think pool parties, but it's not just that. That's for sure. I learned that.
Yeah, and we just planned the day out. There's a petting zoo um, that was off the beaten path. That was like 15 minutes away. It was like a $20 lift ride, and they were able to pet the giraffes, see the lions, the tigers. Like I talked about Jabberwockies. My as an 18th. No, she would turn 20. No, she turned 21. I'm sorry. My daughter got a tattoo, a small little wave on their foot with the wife. There is so much you can do there. The strip malls. Spend a day at the pool. We have Tahiti, Hawaii has it's like
Nice.
Hawaii. It's got the lazy rivers and the pools everywhere. There is so much you can do, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg at all.
I'm disappointed, Jeff, because I'm not trying to sound like someone complaining, but both times I've been to Vegas now have been the exact same week in December. And like everyone's like, "You're from Canada. It must be so nice to be here at this time of year." I'm like, dude, like I don't live in an igloo. It's the exact same temperature back home, pretty much. It's like 5 degrees warmer here. Everyone's like, wow, it must be so nice for you to be here. And I gotta say, the reactions I get from some people when they say you're from Canada, I'm not trying to stereotype Americans here, Jeff, but I get some funny, funny. Like I had a guy from Texas just be like, "So what's it like for you guys in Canada?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What is it like for us? It's the exact same as it is for you, pretty much the exact same lifestyle that you live. Like, so what do you do in Canada?" I'm like, "What do you mean? We work, we do. It's the exact. We're literally neighbors." But yeah, it was frustrating because I want to go to a pool. I want to walk around Vegas when it's I'm not, I don't know the Fahrenheit, but like 25, 30 degrees, Celsius. I was there when it was like 5 degrees Celsius in Vegas, frustrating.
I've been there in November, December, and it was high 30s, low 40s in the morning. It got up to 50 maybe, but these guys are walking around with parkers, with winter hats, mittens, and I'm looking at them like, okay, I'm not going to wear the shorts today, but it's okay. But
Yeah.
but the flip side, you get in there in March and you're thinking in your head, all right, yes, hey, I'm going to get some of that warm weather. And I, unfortunately, in March, it seems like you get the low to mid 70s, and by the last day or two of your trip, you might get a low 80s. The World Series of Poker generally is in July, and it's
Okay.
right around the main events, right around 4th of July. And I try to get out there every year, and that's the fun, okay? Because it's 109, 110, 111, and uh, at nighttime 8:30 it cools down to 101, 102. But the point is it's that dry heat, it's not that humidity, and you're usually bouncing from casino to casino where it's obviously 72 or whatever they have the temperatures for. But if you have a chance ever to get out there in July, bring the carpetone, bring the sunblock. You
Okay.
really enjoy it then.
I want to go for opening day sometime. I'd love to do that, or even for just like at some point in the early parts of the MLB season, I think would be fun, or even late, like September would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I would, one thing I'll say, I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd want to live there. Would you, Jeff? Like, I think it's a great visiting spot. I love being from the East Coast. I like the, I don't, I kind of find it interesting as far as sports time zones. I prefer your time zone or even the central. Um, a lot of people that are married and have families say they like the Western, but even for me, and a lot of people I know, if you have a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6 or whatever, you're missing like half of the early games. Like I was telling a buddy of mine, he's a Leafs fan. I was like, yeah, the Leafs game starts at 4. He's like, well, I'm not off until 6:30 every day. I'd miss the Leafs game every day. So, But would you ever live in Vegas, Jeff?
I've said for a long time I'll keep the house on the Cape. My next move was going to be to Arizona, like a
Okay.
Scottsdale or something. Golf community, nice, warm. And I know it's a little hot, and maybe the daughters are pushing for the San Diego, 80, 82 every day of the year. I was thinking more Arizona golf course. You can jump in a car, turn on Sirius Radio, and it's a 4-hour shot right there
Nice.
to
Good.
Vegas.
Cool.
It's the same for me from here to New York City. It's that 4-hour trip. But that's where the head is. And as when you talked about this time zone, everyone that goes out west, they live and die. Oh, it's so great. The times are great. Well, listen, I know this. If you go out there for March Madness, okay, and the opening day tip off is at 12:10, okay, you literally have to be there 4 hours early just to get in line in some of these spots to get in to watch the games. So it's a 4-hour difference. So there's people sitting in line at 5, 6 in the AM just trying to get in the
Wow.
season because it's a 3-hour difference and to get in to get yourself set up. So it is kind of crazy. And you talked about it and I've talked about it. You're looking at your watch and it's 5 o'clock, and in our minds, all right, we got to get ready for the 7 o'clock games. And meanwhile, the first period's already over. You're like,
Yeah.
oh God, that's
I'll tell you what, though, Jeff. I'll tell you what. I'm a night hawk, a night owl. I don't go to bed early ever, and I've always stay up late. But I do work when I'm staying up late. It's not like I'm always just watching TV and that kind of stuff. But I do believe that if I lived in Las Vegas or Vancouver in the west coast of Canada, I'd have a way better sleep cycle. My life revolves around sports. I'm watching that Golden Knights game last night. I'm an hour ahead of you. So that's ending around 1:30 in the morning my time, you know. And then usually, sometimes I'll start handicapping for tomorrow during those games, but a lot of times I like to just watch the games and sweat it out and have fun. And then after those games are over that I have action on, then I start tomorrow's work. So we're looking at 1:45 in the morning last night. I'm looking at today's card, in Vegas. I remember going to the Golden Knights game and walking out of the game, and I FaceTime somebody from back home. It's 9:30 Vegas time, and they're like in the wee hours of the AM the next day. So I think I would get a better sleep. I think I would have a better sleep if I lived in the West Coast.
Yeah, and you'd fit right in there. Again, I tell my wife and my family and friends and colleagues, I get more sleep in Vegas than I do back east because
Yeah.
I'm like you. Everyone's sound asleep. I'm in the office and it's 12, 1:30 when I tiptoe into bed. Meanwhile, it's only, 10:30 back west. All the games have been done for a while. And I'm like you, I'm into today's card and I'm trying to figure out some numbers and stuff. Meanwhile, if I was in Vegas, I'm back at the room at 7:38. I'm having my dinner and I'm out cold by 9:30, 10 o'clock because I'm
Yeah.
up at 4:35. So sleep is good. It's very important, especially for you. You're a young man here. So we got to keep that going. All right. I know you're
Always great chats with you, Jeff. We could talk all day. We might have to start our own show together.
I'm telling you, it's right here. Trust me on that. I'm going to go right now into the juniors. I posted the odds for most of them. This was the pre-tournament favorites. Obviously, Canada at plus 125, USA at plus 350, Russia plus 400, Finland plus 700, with Sweden 700. I put the Czechs at plus 2,500, and there were a couple plus 10,000s. So what I wanted to ask you to start here, Andrew, your thoughts pre-tournament. Was there anyone there that you were looking at for value? Was there anyone that you actually took? And now lead us up to where I'm going to bring up the couple games that we have tonight and how you're doing so far in the juniors.
Well, we're above 500, a little bit below 500 here. I took it light on the first day, and I'm kind of disappointed with myself with that because, and I'll say this, obviously, it's kind of a funny statement to make now because it's a year away, but I'll tell you, we didn't get a chance to talk about this before I left, I don't think. But a strategy I constantly look for in the World Juniors, and this theory might be still active, but especially day one and day two, that's when the underdogs cover these spreads. Do you handicap this at all, Jeff?
I try to, and
Okay.
I tell you what, this has been a breath of fresh air. We talk about playoff hockey, Stanley Cup hockey, and every shift you're on your chair. And I do the same. I love Olympic hockey. I just, as the tournament gets, the 3-2 games, the 4-3 games, and then this is a breath of fresh air, especially with COVID and this. I just have this on 24/7. I eat, sleep, and drink this.
Yeah, it's great. Well, we saw it happen early. Germany, they were covering. We saw a lot of these teams. Czech got off to a good start against Canada in their game. We saw a lot of these dogs come to play. And for all of your viewers and listeners out there, it's almost comical. And I'm not saying this in kind of a disrespectful way, but you literally are laying field goals or even touchdowns in these World Junior tournaments. And some people ask, well, why are these teams playing if they're losing by 8 goals? But it's for, the presentation of these skills of the players to try and get drafted and for the entire world to see what these guys can do, for players on Slovakia, on Switzerland, on Team Norway when they're playing in it. Obviously, they don't want to be losing 10-1 in a game to USA, Sweden, or Canada and that kind of stuff, but it's a chance for them to show off their skills. Back to the actionable info, I liked Russia at 4-1. They had their goaltender, Askarov. One thing about the Russians, how do I put this? They almost like lose faith in a player / goaltender so quick every year in this tournament. This is Askarov's 3rd straight year. And I like to back experienced teams. You want to have those guys that have been around. They pulled him in that first game against Sweden. Then they didn't start him in their next game. So it kind of amazed me how they lost faith immediately with him. Mishkov has been great for them. They've got several prospects on that team. But to be honest with you, they might have been a little bit disappointing so far. So, I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. And I think that they were, kind of surprising for me. But at the end of the day, also, Jeff, sometimes you look at a team, and I know this isn't an 82 game season, it's a tournament. What we've seen from them, I think, is not close to what we're still going to see, if that makes some sense here. It's a hockey. It's a sport like hockey, right? The term puck luck gets thrown around a little bit. I don't usually like to use that term, but if anybody has watched these Russian games, it's been tough for them. Last game, I had the -2.5. Got the early number overnight. The next day, they're -3.5. They were covering the 2.5 the entire game. They allow a goal with 1.5 minutes to go in the game. They win the game 4-2. But that game, they could have had 5 or 6 goals, So I don't, I take into account when I lose, but I also think, hey, how did I lose? Did the play, how did it play out? So anyway, I think that Russia today against Slovakia is going to get the job done here. The home tie away, the win-draw win is -172, but you can get that -1.5 at around +100, +105, depending on where you're shopping around. The bad news is that we have a cancellation again, Jeff, and it was tough to see. I had a chalky chalk parlay going with Team Russia and Team Finland at -140. And that was from Pinnacle. And unfortunately, that game was canceled. So it's just rough to see. They're playing in a bubble right now, and yet these cases are popping up. 1 or 2 guys get the vid or test positive, and they're asymptomatic, and they canceled the game. And we saw it happen with Team USA yesterday, I believe. But now they're playing again today. I was listening to Bob McKenzie on TSN here in Canada, and they were saying that all 8 teams have to play in the quarters for for a champion to be named. That's the rule from the IIHF, International Ice Hockey Federation. All 8 teams have to play in the quarterfinals for there to be named a champion eventually down the road. But I do think Russia -1.5 can get the job done. You look at a Slovakia team, And everything I've read about them so far is that their prospects and the bright spots for them, they got some size in the back end. They're blue liners, good defenders. They can't score though. And I think this is a game for them where they'll find the back of the net.
Now, you talked about the U.S. that canceled. They had to postpone yesterday, and they're currently scheduled to play from Sweden. Have we got confirmation that game is a go?
I believe it's 99%. From all the tweets I've seen has said negative tests from everybody else besides those two guys. They were isolated away from the team, so it looks like we're a go. So, and I hate to say it, Jeff, but I might be fading your homeland tonight in the World
That's
Juniors.
what I was going to ask you. So now, unfortunately, they're 1-1 because of well, actually, do they get the loss because they have to forfeit that game, right?
Yes, so the way it works is they lose 1-0.
Okay. So now they're 1-1 coming into this game. And what is Sweden's record?
They're undefeated.
Okay.
2-0.
So is there more sense of urgency with the USA here with what's going on, or they're still fine here?
So Sweden beat Russia 6-3, and then they beat Slovakia 3-0. Yeah, what's funny is that's kind of one of the reasons why I thought we might see an over here. And I think that Sweden's a pretty good defensive team. I think you look at the NHL even right now, it's mostly Swedish blue liners we're starting to see kind of bloom up. But I think we might see an over in that game as well. I think that first of all, less games played for USA. I always say these players don't lose their sloppiness, just like don't lose their skill. Just like we saw last night in the NHL, they lose their defensive abilities. That's what the cohesion and chemistry leads to. Chemistry defensively, not just offensively. But also, you've got a team right now in Sweden that's had no problem scoring goals. 9 goals in 2 games for them. And one of them was against a strong Russian team, what I thought was a strong Russian team anyway. So I think it's going to be an entertaining game to watch. I'm happy it's the later game tonight. I believe, it's at 8:30, I believe, or 7:30 Eastern time.
Looks like 8:30.
But I like the Russian -1.5 pick the best here, Jeff. I just if obviously it's not like the NHL where we have all these websites to look for at the expected goals and all that type of stuff. But if I was doing my own expected goal chart, I'll tell you they were due. And I'm not just someone that's mad about losing a bet the other day. This is a team that I seriously think. And you look at kind of Slovakia, like I said, I'm not expecting Russia to win, 6-2 by any means, but we're looking at a regular NHL or hockey in general puck line here. Just a 1.5, no crazy 2, 3.5, 4.5. Just, cover that regular puck line. And I think that they're disrespecting Russia with this line.
Now, do you have what's the juice on the -1.5?
About even odds.
Even odds. Okay. And on the Sweden USA, did you have an under over a 5.5?
Let me confirm here. It is interesting that we're finally seeing a nice price game though. -120. I'm seeing 25-30 here for USA. Yeah, total I'm seeing in this game. 5.5, 125. That's what I see.
Okay. That's what
is that what you see? Similar?
That's what I see. Yes. Okay. So I know we were running. We had our Vegas talk here, and I apologize for that, but I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to keep you 5 minutes overtime here because I want everyone to hear your.
I'm good until 2 o'clock.
Oh, bingo. All righty. I want your breakdown today from the NHL. Let me pull that up from you at Wager Talk, and let's have some fun here.
Are you in action much tonight on the ice?
I'm scrubbing hard, put it that way. I'm 100% transparency, and I can tell you this, my friend. I'm as cold as they get right now. It doesn't matter if I had if I have tomorrow's newspaper in front of me, I'd find a way to screw this thing up. It just doesn't matter what we do. I had the first 2 bowl game winners on the desk yesterday. Released Mississippi State first half full game and game total and go 0 for 3. They were embarrassed. And it just doesn't matter. You get into these ruts. You're doing work. You start to doubt yourself.
You'll turn it
it
around,
doesn't.
Jeff. You'll turn it around, man. You'll turn it around. You just keep doing what you're doing, you know. I got slaughtered in October, and I mean slaughtered. Like I got taken out to the back woodshed. It was bad in the NHL. And if you take out October, and I wish I could, and put together November and December in the NHL, I'm having one of the best seasons I've ever had. You know, I fell so deep in the deep end in October in the NHL that I committed to just one play a day in November. And that's when I went on my 17-0 run. And that just kind of started to slowly dig me out of that hole. So I'm up like 11.6 units on the season in the NHL, and I'm on a 30-10 run. So think about that. I'm on a 30-10 run. No, I know, but I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm saying I had such a bad October, and I'm on a big run now, and I'm only up 11 units. It's kind of like, man, if I even had a mediocre October, it'd be a great season right now. I was like 30%.
And I'm glad you're saying exactly that, because we came out of the gates guns a-blazing in college hoops. We started the year like on an 18-6 run plus 11.5 units. And then, you start to, miss three-pointer, miss free throw, walk off three, and then the other sports are going on. And my point is always on Sundays, that's our Sunday fun day action parlay, whether we're up 5 units or down 5 units going into the last day. Usually put a half, 3/4 of a unit on a parlay. A couple weeks ago on a Sunday that saved the week. And then it's just been downhill since. You can't get that traction. And you start to second guess yourself. But, the funny thing is January 1st is our 7-year anniversary. That'll be the start of our 7th year of public service here. Excellent. And same name, same face, same everything. And there's not many people on social media or on Twitter that can say they've been out here for 7 straight years. And so I'm proud of that. And I know we're not going anywhere. 2022, 23, 24, and
the future
beyond.
Is exciting.
Yes, it couldn't be brighter. It really couldn't. And, chats like this with you and I every Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, whatever it is. And you put something in the back of my brain that, trust me, we will talk behind the scenes at some point. But it is, and it's a breath of fresh air. And with that said, a lot of red, a lot of postponements. But what do you see in the NHL today?
I guess the one of the games we have to talk about is Anaheim and Vancouver, Jeff. Everybody's talking about Vancouver. They're the talk of the NHL right now. They were disappointing out the gate. Bruce Boudreau takes over as the head coach. Everyone followed that old-fashioned handicapping mentality. They bet on Vancouver after the coaching change was made. And the regret I have is that was the only bet I've made on Vancouver was the game after they hired the new coach. It won. And I know a few bettors that took them every single time, and they haven't lost yet. But I'm jumping on it. And I'll tell you one thing. A lot of people think that break will hurt them momentum-wise. I don't think so at all. I think a few practices is only going to help them more. And I'll say something else. Credit has to go to Bruce Boudreau, but I believed in this team in general. I released to my clients plus 175 for Vancouver to make the playoffs. That's now plus 475, and I bet it again. I look at Calgary above them, but Anaheim, some of these teams, LA, I've seen some overachieving, and I think Anaheim is the biggest overachiever early on. Now mix in Trevor Zegras being quarantining and Maxime Comtois quarantine. I don't think it's a good night tonight for Anaheim. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll stay strong. They'll keep battling. They've got 2 great goaltenders, but I think Vancouver's the better team here, and we're getting a pick 'em price.
Listen, we talked preseason. We that was your play. I have it written down right here. You talked about Vancouver, and I have a ticket. I'm not ashamed to say I have a ticket or 2 on Vancouver. So,
me too.
And it's good, like it kind of reminds me, and it was a month prior to, but kind of reminds me of a few years back to St. Louis Blues. Just a team in absolute turmoil. Fire the coach, and I remember like it was yesterday. There was a fan that grabbed them at 300 to 1 to win the Stanley Cup, and next thing you know, they go on this amazing run and they get to the playoffs. And then he was the talk of the town. He had the ticket. You had prop swap banging on his door every day. Come south, and there he is, right there in the garden. A winner, and I love hockey, absolutely do. And
Me too.
stories like this.
We have to see a game,
Anything
Jeff. I'm going to plan it out because I have to go see my good friend in the next few months here. I've already traveled once or twice, and I'm not, this pandemic is not going to stop me from doing it again. I'm going to take all the safety precautions. I got a test in Toronto. I got a test in Vegas before I left to come home. I got to come visit you. I got to visit my friend. We'll have some business chats. We'll have some fun chats. We'll catch some games. It'll be a good time.
Absolutely. And if you can strategically plan it where we can grab a college game, whether it's BU, BC, or someone like that, Northeastern. The daughters are upset with me this year because I didn't purchase the Beanpot tickets because I don't know if they're going to have it. And if they do, I don't know if fans are going to be allowed. We always take the Beanpot in. And it sounds like Harvard might go online second half here and so I don't know what's going to happen with the Beanpot, but we got enough schools locally where we could grab a nice college game and then we'll jump over to the Garden and check out the Bruins, of course.
That'd be great.
There. Anything else on the board that you see, or is it just Vancouver tonight?
I like the over in the Philadelphia-Seattle Kraken game, but I'm going to stick with the first period over. We saw last night, we saw all three games go over in the first period by big time, and also all three games go over in general. But I'm going to isolate tonight, especially these first periods. I'm not a huge first period total player either. I don't really. I'm not down for the 20-minute sweat. I'd like the 60-minute sweat a lot better. But I think in these games in particular, you can get some sloppiness out the gate. It might be 1 or 2 minutes of figuring things out, and then when these guys get back to scoring chance. We saw it in the Vegas game. We saw it in the Montreal game. There's shots and there's scoring opportunities being thrown around, pucks being thrown in front of the net, just uncharacteristic mistakes that we're seeing. Florida in regulation is a play I like. I think they're a little bit bigger favorites than I'd like, but Rangers dealing with some injuries, protocol, that kind of stuff. Devils, Sabres, lean towards the over in that game, but I'm not quite sure what we're going to get from Buffalo, which is why I'm kind of staying away, especially with that total being at 6 now instead of 5.5. You have to shop around. But just a few plays I like in that game tonight.
All right. So let me get over here 1 quick second for you as we got to get your props up here and you can close with exactly what's going on. Here is we can follow Andrew at Mcinnis Picks at Wager Talk Sports Mayflower. Go over to YouTube, subscribe. He's got a great podcast there. Andrew, tell everyone watching, listening here where they can also find you, catch whatever specials you're running at Wager Talk, or what they can look for the rest of this week, this weekend, the rest of 2021, and then 2022.
Well, again, I always appreciate working with you and going on your show, Jeff. So thank you very much for having me. For right now, I guess the special I have going is just at Wager Talk, the rest of the World Junior Tournament. If you buy that package, you're also going to get my NHL plays included with that package. And currently right now, cancer is affecting my family. So I'm doing a deal here where if you can take half off that package, if you donate minimum $25 to the Canadian Cancer Society, send that screenshot into Wager Talk support at Wager Talk. They'll take half off your package and we'll be ready to go and make some money.
Awesome. A lot of talk today, whether it was Vegas, whether it was World Juniors or NHL here. Always a pleasure, of course. It'll be good to get back onto our Wednesday schedule.
Yes.
No trip scheduled yet. Maybe in March we'll find. Actually, before then, I'll say we'll actually break bread back in Boston. And
I hope so, yeah.
Then maybe in March, definitely for March Madness.
And Happy New Year, Jeff, to you as well.
Yes, happy New Year. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, and Andrew Mcinnis at Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks, we wish everyone a blessed day. Always remember this: wager responsibly. If you are wagering today, wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number there. Why? Ask for help, because we care. So best of luck today, tomorrow, the rest of 2021, and myself and Andrew will catch you next Wednesday.